Michael Irvin heard the bells of his phone ringing. It was the Rich Eisen show calling him up. How are you, Irv?
Jerry's crazy.
Yeah, that's right. He heard it. He heard bells.
As they come, man. I mean, imagine, Rich, being in a room with him doing negotiations, and he's telling all of these stories. I'm like, can we just get to my money, please? But that's exactly what he does. You can't help but laugh. I love
It's great.
how he incorporates all of that stuff.
It's great. And for those who didn't see it, it seemed like he was about to lace the story with the word his father actually used before saying the word bells, and it looked like it would start with an F. I mean, this guy is just a first-rate storyteller and entertainer, which is why it's kind of killing him that he's probably out of the playoffs when everybody's paying attention to it. What'd you think of the McCarthy hire, or what do you think?
Listen, Rich, when I heard it, I was like, okay. You know, it wasn't a wow me hire, but it wasn't a, what, are you serious kind of hire when you were dropping that. They thinking about hiring Witt, and I was like, what? What are you talking about there? You know, so it wasn't that. But then when I watched the press conference, and I saw Mike McCarthy in a different way when I watched the press conference. You know, I thought he was trying to be open and trying to be honest and talking about his own deficiencies and working on shortcomings, because when you leave Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers saying you're a little rigid and antiquated, basically, and then you come in, you're like, wow, what are we getting here? But I thought he did a pretty good job in that press conference talking about how he's trying to learn in that year off and get better at this job. So he won me over in the press conference. I'm anxious to see what happens now.
Well, the question is again, and you know, I had Troy on the day that, so now I've got two triplets to discuss it. Troy was on about the first hour that McCarthy, the news had broken that he was a coach. Is just what do you think could be different, and whatever else he brings from the Green Bay system that Aaron Rodgers succeeded in for some time. What do you think from that would actually work with Dak and Zeke and presumably Amari Cooper should he stay? Michael?
Well, the number one thing I think, you know, in this situation is you have talented guys, and now they know that their leader has actually led someone or some team to a Super Bowl and won the Super Bowl. It's the old adage, how can I tell you what I do not know? How can I take you where I did not go? Well, he did go there. So now you can, you know, and I hear people getting a report talking about, well, he brings some fear into these guys. Fear is gone. You guys can stop that. Fear is gone, because to that degree, you're not talking about bringing fear to the top guys, to the Dak Prescott, the Ezekiel Elliott's, or the Amari Coopers. All of those guys' contracts are in the front office because they're going to be making so much money guaranteed. It's, can you get them to build a reverence for you? Can they respect you? Can they look at you and want to be the best that they can be? Can you dig down inside and bring the best out of them? That is what that is the key, I think, for Mike McCarthy. And I thought it needed to be a guy with more rah-rah in him. I watched the Matt Rule interview, a press conference, and I thought he had some rah-rah in him. I was like, man, he has some rah-rah in him. But the reality is you can get there in other ways. You can get there in other ways, and having that Super Bowl carried out the other thing and say, guys, listen, I've been here. I won a Super Bowl right here in Dallas. All we have to do is these certain things, and we can be back. We can be in a Super Bowl. I think that carries big weight.
Michael Irvin here on the Rich Eisen Show. Okay, so check that box. I guess that's done with Dallas, and that leaves the Browns. What do you think they need? If you could choose somebody that you're either hearing that's out there or not, I mean, what do you think the Cleveland Browns need for Baker and that squad, Odell and everybody that he'd be inheriting, the new coach? What do you think, Mike?
And I think they have some great talent on that team too. But I think the team needs a little bit more direction, you know, and probably a better approach. Right? Honestly, I know Freddie Kitchens, you know, was more of a friend to Baker than a guidance for Baker, you know, and he came in trying to throw the ball more when I think he should have been leading on the run game and then allowed the passing game to spread. There was a maturation process for even the great Tom Brady. Tom Brady didn't come right in throwing to championships. He came in basically managing games, making certain plays, and then as he got older and he got better and he learned more about defenses and his own offense, then he took over. Look at what they tried to do. They tried to make Baker right now that guy. That's a hard process. They need somebody to come in and say, Baker, I understand you're the number one pick, and I understand you got all this gutsy macho stuff going on, but there's a process to this. You can't get to the prize, becoming one of the greatest throwers in this game, without going through the process right now. And I don't know what guy out there that can come and sell that to him right now, but that's what I think they need. They need somebody that he'll buy into and say, if I'm not throwing for 300 yards, if I'm throwing for 210 yards, but we're winning the game and I'm making good decisions, I'll get to the place where I'm throwing for 350 yards when we're winning games.
Pro Football Hall of Famer, Super Bowl champion 3 times over, my compadre from NFL Game Day Morning, but most importantly, my great friend Michael Irvin here on the Rich Eisen Show. You know, I said something earlier on the show I got a little heat for, and by that I mean somebody tweeted something at me that told me I was clueless. I feel better about the Texans' chances of winning this game in Kansas City than I felt about their chances of beating Buffalo at home last week. And I turned to you, somebody who said, you know what, I see this Texans team, if Will Fuller comes back healthy and they can get past this game, making a long run. So I give you the floor here on what you think about the Texans now that what you saw last week is fresh in your mind, Michael.
Right, and Rich, I give them a shot here too, only if they are healthy. Because here it is, you see all that Deshaun Watson had to do to win that game against Buffalo, and Buffalo has a very good defense, but he had to do a lot to win that ball game, and they need easier plays. And Will Fuller, when you get Will Fuller and Kenny Stills, and you have these guys on the outside, now you get the easier plays to DeAndre Hopkins, because if they try to double him, then one of those guys go over the top and you get the big play. You're going to be they have the ability to make the big play, and they are going to need that to fight against Kansas City, because with Nicole Hartman and Tyreek Hill, those guys, they can make the big play at any point. But they got to get down to being able to just matriculate that ball down the field. And here they're going to have to find a better run game this week than they had against Buffalo to have a chance at beating Kansas City. But they do have a chance at beating Kansas City.
And then there's the Saturday night game. I spoke at length with second-hour guest Eddie George, who I reached out to. We strolled down Titans-Ravens memory lane. And look, NFL is a physical game. Playoff football is not for the faint of heart. What the Titans-Ravens just appears to be that difference, that maker between playoff games and ones that you know are just going to be an absolute slugfest. What's it like going into a playoff game where you know, Michael, there's a good chance that you're going to get somebody with a helmet in the ribs or something like that? What's that like for you?
And I'm going to tell you something, Richard. And I talked about this on Inside NFL the other day, because as we talked through this game. I said, This is what I learned the few times I did play on Wild Card Sunday. And if you play Wild Card Sunday like the Titans did, and I'm talking about them dudes played a physical football game. Nobody on New England wanted to tackle Derrick Henry.
You believe that, right?
They were like, let's just go. They put the white flag up. They were like, that's it. We can get out of here. Nobody wanted to tackle that dude anymore. It's so hard, though, man, to turn around when you play a physical game like that, and then to turn around and get back up to play another physical game, because Baltimore's a physical football team. Mm-hmm. So they're going to need, I think, Tennessee, as great as Derrick Henry is, if I'm Tennessee, I'm coming in this game trying to get an early big play. Each time I played on Wild Card Weekend, I wanted us to get an early big play early in the game, the division round, to get everybody hyped and get them going again, get adrenaline pumping again, because the team that sat home, they are so hyped and they are rested. You've been banged up because you played such a high game and you played at such high intensity in that wild card round. I'm looking for them to do something with A.J. Brown early to try to get early, big play early, and then settle back and let Derrick Henry crush you. And I also think everything hinges on what's going on with Mark Ingram. I don't care what you guys say. Everybody say what you will. Mark Ingram brings a different taste to that football team, the Baltimore Ravens.
But what about when you played? What was the most physical team you played in the playoffs ever? Were you going in that week like, okay, I need to make sure my head's a little bit more on a swivel this week? Which one was that for you?
Well, we played some the Philly. You talk about when we played Philly. We played Philly in the playoffs, all those games were tough. I may have caught one pass in that game because Bobby Taylor was helped over the top, but one pass was a touchdown. But I knew this was going to be a battle. This was going to be a battle, and the battle really comes. For me, I'm a wide receiver. The physicalness for me is going to be on a limited basis. But the physicalness for those offense and defensive linemen,
right?
Oh my God! With those guys going at it like that, and as much as they pound the ball last week in Tennessee, that's going to be an incredible battle for Tennessee to get back up and match those guys in Baltimore.
It wasn't that time against Seahorn, Irv? Wasn't that Seahorn game?
Oh, man, God, no. But Rich, I know we joke about that. I will say this.
Seahorn Island?
He was physical, too. He was trying to be physical. He was trying to be physical, especially when he had a safety over top. And I walk by him and say, you know, the only reason you trying to be that physical is because you got help back there. You can dive all into my body because if you miss, you got a safety over there to help you out. I would like to see it without that safety. He said, Mike, I'm playing. He would always be quiet. He said, Mike, I'm playing the defense the coach called. That's all he would say.
I love it. What about a few more minutes left here with Irv on the Rich Eisen Show, Michael Irvin. What about the fact that the Niners many of them haven't done it before? Obviously, Shanahan's coached in it. John Lynch has played and won in it. That's upstairs general managership. Sherman's done it. They added Emmanuel Sanders midseason. That's been something. But the rest of them have never played in a playoff game pretty much. How much do you put in stock into that in the Vikings team that is coming off of, as you pointed out, a shorter week? It's just 6 days removed from beating New Orleans like that, Michael.
And I would put more stock into the experience factor. If the 49ers didn't go through that gauntlet that they went through towards the end of the season, I've been talking about, as everybody said, I don't know about the 49ers. Look at what they went through. I said, yeah, look at what they went through. That has the Saints. Drew Brees had one of the best months ever in the history of the game in December, and then he turns around and lose that game, lose the playoff game. The 49ers went through a gauntlet of teams they had to play. All of them were great games, too. I mean, they played every game hard. I think that carries them through. When you start talking about Minnesota, they are battle-tested and ready for this type of situation, even though they're limited in the experience department.
Ask the poll question of Irv before we send him into his good Metroplex day. Christopher, go for it.
All right, Irv, which road team this weekend best chance to pull the upset? Seahawks, Vikings, Titans, Texans?
Well, I've had that's a great poll question. I talked to somebody else about that, and I put it in this order. I do think Tennessee has a good chance
there you go.
At pulling that upset. I really do. I like Tennessee. I will go probably Tennessee in their first, and maybe Minnesota second, and Texans third,
wow.
And actually Seattle fourth.
You like the Packers, huh, Irv?
I am taking the Packers. I'm thinking they lost so much of their run game. And the thing that always makes Russell Wilson so tough to beat, and this is why he's 0-3 up in Lambeau, what makes him tough to beat, because if you give him the ball last, he's going to come down and make a play. Well, who do you think is just as good, if not better, and if you give him the ball last?
Right.
Aaron Rodgers. That's exactly what we're talking. Aaron Rodgers, and that's what makes Aaron Rodgers actually loves getting the ball last and coming back and winning football games. That's why I give them a little edge.
All right, Irv, thanks for the call. Why do you think so many people enjoyed watching you choose the obvious teams for Lock of the Week on NFL Game Day morning all season long and then prematurely receive the trophy, only to not win the title of Lock of the Week by yourself because Ryan Fitzpatrick unlocked your Lock of the Week in Week 17? Why do you think people enjoyed all that? Is it because I got so pissed off about it? What do you think?
Rich, that's exactly it, Rich. You know how people are. Anything that riles somebody up greatly, they greatly love. And it's just great. It was great stuff, Rich. That picture you posted,
yes,
it told it all. When I'm looking at the trophy, and you're like, what is going on?
Yeah, I'm screaming in the foreground.
Great
You're in the
picture,
background with
Rich.
your trophy celebrating it. Kurt's laughing and Mooch is eating. That was the photograph.
Right. It was perfect. That is our family.
That is
in
our
a
family.
nutshell, right there. That is our family.
Love you, Irv. Thanks for the call. I'll see you at the meeting tomorrow.
Hey, love you too, buddy.
Right
Y'all
back
be
at you.
safe over there, man. Down forward, everybody. What's up, buddy?
There
How
you
you
go.
guys doing,
We're
man?
good.
Y'all
Good,
stay up.
Mikey. How you doing?
All right, Irv.
For more of The Rich Eisen Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV for free on BR Live or download the Rich Eisen Show app.